Hello, everyone. This is Kerwin, and welcome to another episode of Travel Talk. This should probably be a What's Happening in Travel with Kusho and Kerwin episode, but I think it's more fits into a Travel Talk episode. So, the big news today is that Spirit Airlines has filed bankruptcy. Now, Spirit Airline is a low-cost airline that's based in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, and they fly to places within North America, as well as the Caribbean, Central America, and even as far south as Lima, Peru. Now, Lima is one of their seasonal destinations. Uh, so there's been a lot of things leading up to this, but how we got here is Spirit had been having trouble with airplanes. They'd even sold off some airplanes that they had, some A320s. They basically fly A320s and A321s and maybe an A319s. I'm not sure. I think they do. Uh, and they've been having financial issues. So they first tried to merge with Frontier, which is another low-cost carrier based in the United States. And that didn't quite work out because JetBlue came in and said, who's another, was a low cost carrier, but not low cost anymore because JetBlue has kind of moved out of that genre. I'd have to do a whole video on JetBlue at some point. And so JetBlue stepped in and they said, okay, we're going to do the merger. Spirit accepted it, went up to the Department of Justice in the United States, which is required to approve any of these mergers because they look at the entire route structure and see if you put these two airlines together, what is it going to do to the entire aviation system in the U.S.? Well, they deemed it wasn't going to be a good thing, and so they said no. And I think no, they went to court, and the courts also said no. So the merger was squashed. Uh, Spirit, they ended up like furloughing pilots and things like that because they're hurting for cash. Because for some reason, which should be apparent, they're not making money. Although they're a low-cost carrier and other low-cost carriers are making money. Uh, One of the things in my mind why Spirit got to this place is they do not treat the customers properly. I've been that customer, and so I know firsthand that of how they're of how from a customer perspective how it works. Now, I used to work in the industry now, and I worked in customer, as you know, I worked in customer service. That's the piece that I worked at. I worked for the website, and I handled the customer service from that standpoint. I've worked the ticket counter and I've been the guy who picks up your bag and takes your bag from the airplane and delivers it to you in the on the belt. Sometimes the bag gets stuck and I have to go crawl into that little space and take the bag out and bring it over to you. But so I understand the industry. Uh, I've flown 196 airlines since 1980. And many of those are low-cost carriers because my goal that I'm trying to fly all the airlines in the world. A lofty goal is never going to happen because sometimes some airlines come along and they file for bankruptcy and go out of business before I get to fly them. Um, so I get customer service and I've flown lots of low-cost carriers. The problem, and I don't care what Spirit is going to do, and I'm going to read you a letter that came from the CEO that he sent to all the Spirit flyers. I think they call them Free Spirit members. And in my mind, the issue is customer service. I think there's only so much a customer can take when you fly an airline and there's always a problem. People just can't take that, no matter how cheap the fares are. And Spirit is cheap. One of the things that Spirit does in the marketplace is just do any search on Google Flights or any search engine for flights, and you just say go anywhere between, well, anywhere that Spirit flies. So if you do something like New York, LA, or Houston, Las Vegas, or something like that, you will see Spirit and Frontier flights come up. You will see things like a Spirit flight is $50 and the Frontier flight is $45. and the United flight is 109. The American flight's 145. Delta is like 120. So what Spirit does is it keeps those fares low. Because what the airlines will, what the full service airlines will do is they will match the fare that Spirit have, but only on the flights that are around the same time that Spirit and Frontier and Allegiant or any other low-cost carrier, Southwest. Well, Southwest is kind of weird. They're not really a low-cost carrier anymore because the fares they charge is just about the same as any other carrier. But what the major airlines do, that the United, the Delta, the American, they will charge the same fares as the low-cost carrier around that time. If you have a market, which is a route from A to B, that the low-cost carriers are on, the fares are going to be very expensive. And so one of the things that these low-cost carriers do in the marketplace is they they keep the fares low. But if you try to book like today to go Houston, Las Vegas, everybody is going to have pretty much the same fare. So you don't really have a choice per se. Now, when you see these low fares, what you're going to see is they don't come with anything. So if you want a seat, you pay extra. If you want a bag, you pay extra. If you want a carry-on bag, you pay extra. Now, these low-cost carriers are the reason why the airlines have basic fares, basic economy fares, because they're trying to match the service that's provided by these airlines. Um, Here's my problem with Spirit. And if you work for Spirit, I'm sorry, but this is just uh, a personal experience that happened with Spirit. I flew Spirit, Houston, Fort Lauderdale, and actually the service was good. I had no issues at all. Pleasant people, um, and flight left on time and everything like that. I paid extra for I think you call them, they're not big boy seats, but the bigger seats that are up front in those first two rows. They have four seats instead of three. It's two, and there's two rows of those. Um, the marketing of Spirit, that whoever's in charge of marketing is really good because they send really timely emails and their job is to get more out of you. And they got a little more out of me because I wanted to experience those big, I think they call them big front seats. And so that worked. And would have worked on the second flight, except I was like, nah, I already flew the big front seat. I want to go fly the regular seats now. And when I did, the problem, so with every airline, there's going to be problems, right? I just had a friend who they flew American Airlines and they had issues both directions. One of them, the flight was delayed and they missed a connection in Miami. The other one on the way back, the flight was canceled. And so they weren't able to get where they needed to go on the same day. Now, when that happens to you in on one trip, it's very annoying because now you hate the airline. However, though, if they were on Spirit, they would never got what American did. Because they missed a connection, American put them up in a hotel for that night. I assume they gave them a meal voucher. Meal vouchers is really stingy with some airlines. When I flew American and I had issues, they gave me a $12 meal voucher. It could buy me nothing in the airport. Absolutely nothing. I think I had Payway. It's a Payway, the Chinese food place or Asian food place. And I was able to, I could buy the Payway, although think I had to add money just to buy the meal, but there was no drinks. I could get nothing. So the amount of money that they give you is not enough, but I had issues and they did put me up in a hotel. And they put this person up in a hotel as well. And when this person's hotel was canceled, I mean the flight was canceled, they put them up in a hotel as well. And I've flown with other airlines that have similar situation. I got placed in a hotel. With Spirit, when I flew, they canceled my flight. And they knew it was going to be canceled, but they waited until last minute to send me the notification. Um, the issue with this is airlines are going to have problems all the time because you're you're carrying. Spirit has a huge network, And you're carrying all these people around, you're gonna have problems. The planes are gonna break because they're mechanical. They slam those planes to the ground on landing. Although some of them is grease landings, but you're gonna get slammed into the ground. Something's gonna break on those planes. But they get them fixed and they go again and they're gone. Uh, the problem was when my flight was canceled, and I have a video about this whole thing, but I'll just give you a quick synopsis. The I had I Spirit communicates with you via WhatsApp. I was able to get an agent because you can actually talk to an agent, but only after you go through like a long thing, which is it's not terribly different than other airlines because every airline's hiding their phone number the other day. But I could pick up the phone and call Delta, American, United anytime, and they will, and I can talk to them. I may have a wait, but I can talk to them. With Spirit, this wasn't the case. When I spoke to the person, the first guy was really good, but then he said he couldn't do anything for me. I'm like, but you canceled the flight. Can you get me home? Then I had to transfer me to somebody else who she was a supervisor and she couldn't do anything different than he could have done. Now, the agents you speak to don't make up these rules. Each airline have how they handle policies, right? So this policy is coming from corporate. This is not the agent making up whatever happens. Um, long story short, I had to buy a ticket. I had to shell out about $600, $636 so I could stay in a hotel, get to my hotel, book a new flight home. Luckily, I had travel insurance, and when I made a claim, I was covered for $600. So I was able to get $600 back out of my $636. And Spirit did give me back I think I paid $64 for the ticket. Only reason why I had done Spirit was one, I wanted to fly them again because I wanted to experience the service from a different perspective. And they were the only carrier with a schedule that matched the time I was arriving in Boston. I was doing a flight from Keflavik in Iceland, and they had a schedule that matched. Now, I I spoke to an agent at the airport, and she had zero, I say, um, sympathy for me. It was just like, oh, we can get you on a flight tomorrow that will get you into, I think was like Orlando that morning. And then the next morning we'll get you into a flight. So I said, you mean 2 days away? She's like, yes. I go, there's nothing as you can do? No. And it was a cold no. It wasn't like, I'm so sorry, blah, blah, blah. It was nothing like that. It was just cold. And then the agent on the phone, this is the piece that really killed me. So you canceled my flight and you wanted me to pay because I gave you a routing that you didn't think was acceptable. I said, I'll go to Detroit. I was in Boston. I'll go to Detroit. I'll stay overnight. I won't even have you pay for my hotel. And then next morning, you have a flight to Houston. I can take the like, no. And she goes, well, we can't do this. And she gave me some excuse. And I was like, I don't understand what you're telling me, ma'am. I said, you canceled my flight. And so this is the problem, right? And if Spirit doesn't change this, I just don't think in my experience that no matter how much you're filing for bankruptcy, so the creditors will be happy, right? Well, not really happy, but the creditors won't come after you. But are you going to fix the customer service? Are you going to deal with the customers differently? You're not the only low-cost carrier that's out there. And I don't see people complaining about Allegiant. They complain about Frontier, but I don't see them communicating, complaining about Allegiant or Sun Country. But Spirit, you're always in the news. There's always a problem. I saw a video recently of two of your agents at the airport. They were cursing each other in front of a customer at the airport. Now, I've worked at the airport, and people have had their differences, but when you curse, you don't curse in front of the customer. You go in the back room and do whatever you want to do. If you don't like something an agent does, and you're an agent as well, go yell at them later, but not in front of customers. And so some of this stuff that happens, you gotta clean that up. If you do not clean that up, I don't think you can survive. Yes, you can get your You can trim the ship, you furloughed pilots, which is really awful. And but if you don't fix the customer service side of things, I don't think this is gonna work for you. And you guys can leave a comment below. Let me know what kind of service levels you've had from Spirit in your flights, because this was definitely not something. And like I said, I've flown 196 airlines, including Spirit, and I've not had this bad service. Breeze was brilliant. Flew Breeze from LA to Pittsburgh. I mean, it was a great flight, no issues at all. It was just great customer service. And if you give your customers great customer service, even if you charge them for seats, um, they will still be okay with it. I've flown Scoot, which is a low-cost airline in Australia, in Singapore, and they're fine. I've flown EasyJet. I've flown Fly One. I've flown Ryanair. Now, when I fly Ryanair is different than EasyJet, very different. So my bag is acceptable on EasyJet, but it's not acceptable on Ryanair. Because I know that, I pay for the bag on Ryanair because I'm not going to argue with an agent at the airport because they're only doing their jobs. Um, but if you don't fix the customer service issue, if you don't treat the customer well, this I think is why you're losing money. Because people are like, you know what, you're cheap, but I'm not flying you because I can't deal with it. And also, you need to be reliable, right? That's one of the things that people think about. And if you cancel my flight, get me home. Problem or reason why they can't get me home is that they don't have what's called interline agreements, which is an agreement between another airline to take you home. Because you know what? When you pay $54 for your ticket, they have to pay like two, $300 to the regular airline to get you home. They're not going to pay that. So there's no agreement between them. So you can't, if you fly a Spirit flight to another one, you can't transfer your bag. There's a system called DOHOP, I think it is, where sometimes when you go to Google Flights, it'll say, hey, you can get from Houston to London by going Houston to LaGuardia on Spirit or Newark or something like that, or Miami on Spirit, and then connect to North, and then North will take you, and then you can buy the ticket in one. So you can do stuff like that. But there's no interline. So you have to check your bag with one airline and then go to the other airline and pick them up. So I was going to tell you what Spirit said. It said, "Thank you for being, dear Kerwin. Thank you for being a valued Free Spirit member. I joined Free Spirit because I bought the ticket from them. I'm writing to let you know about a proactive step Spirit has taken to position the company for success. Spirit has entered into an agreement with our bondholders that is expected to reduce our total debt, provide increased financial flexibility, position Spirit for long-term success, and accelerate investments, providing guests with, that's what they call customers, with enhanced travel experience and greater value. Part of this financial restructuring includes a pre-arranged Chapter 11. Pre-arranged is in quotes, I don't know why. The most important thing is to know that if you can continue to book and fly now and in the future, we also want to assure you that you can use all tickets, credits, and loyalty points as normal. You can continue to benefit from our Free Spirit loyalty program, Saver Club, perks, and credit card terms. And our amazing team members are here to offer you excellent service and elevated experience. I wouldn't say amazing team members because not all your team members are amazing. And you know that. There's no way you do not know this. So we expect to complete the process in the first quarter of 2025 and emerge even better positioned to deliver the best value in the sky. Other airlines that are operating successfully today have undertaken a similar process. For more information about our financial restructuring, please go to spiritgoforward.com. Um, kind of funny that they tuck in here other airlines that are operating successfully today have done that. It is true. I think all the three airlines have gone through some type of bankruptcy to get back into business, and they're doing well now. I think it's been 10 years since the US airlines have filed for bankruptcy. So it continues. We gratefully, we're grateful you continue to choose Spirit for your travel needs as we head into the holiday season and beyond. We look forward to welcoming you on board again soon. Not going to happen. Sincerely, Ted Chris, the president and CEO of Spirit Airlines. So that's the letter. That's the letter he sent. Um, I still have not received any notification from Spirit after they did. The only thing they did, I went on their WhatsApp and I spoke to the person there and they were able to refund my money. I never got an apology for the cancellation. I never got anything at all from the customer service folks when they screwed up my reaccommodation, which is what they call it. And so for Mr. Christie to send this to me now is like, you know, because I got nothing from you, it's very difficult to speak to a person. Everything is done through texting on WhatsApp pretty much. I don't know how I was able to get to a person, but I was. At least in not as bad as Frontier where you can't talk to anybody. But it's always sad when you have bankruptcy filings because you know what's going to happen. They're furloughed pilots, that means the pilots are out of work. Um, People are more than likely going to get laid off because they're trying to save cost. And labor is one of the things that's the biggest cost in airlines. Normally, the executives don't go anyplace. It's the regular people like you and I who get laid off. So it's always sad whenever this kind of thing happens. But Spirit, if you do not fix your customer service, you haven't fixed anything. And this sort of stuff, yes, your creditors will be not paid off, but they'll be off your backs. But you have to change the core values. And the core thing is you got to take care of your customers. Um, and so this is a kind of a sad day in aviation whenever an airline files for bankruptcy because you know it affects the employees. Having been on the inside of the airline, this is not a good day because everyone is like, okay, am I going to lose my job? And Spirit is pretty big. They're based in Miramar, Florida, and they have a huge operation. And like I said, they fly all over the place. You know, they do North America, Central America, South America, and within the United States and the Caribbean. And so this is a lot of people who will be out of work if they can't pull themselves out of bankruptcy and get it together. Um, but you know, this is what happens in the airline industry. So that's all I have. But if you have any comments about, stuff that's happened with you in Spirit, please leave a comment below because, let us know how that went. If you had a cancellation, did they take care of you? If your flight was delayed, did they take care of you? Sometimes you have a flight on only one market. There's only one flight on that particular route. And what it does, it creates a strain because then, if the only flight that is placed once a week, you're host because you have to wait. And for your vacation, it's probably just 1 week anyway. But anyway, I'm rambling. This is Curry with Travel Talk. Have a great trip, and we'll see how this one pans out. And if you're behind the scene in Spirit, I wish you all good luck, and hopefully you guys will be able to pull out of it. But remember, customer is key. Treat them well. Talk to you soon.